When I was a kid, I loved cars. Still do. The 57 Cadillac Eldorado Brougham was the most advanced car in the world. Cost more than a Rolls. Hand-built with a stainless steel roof, cruise control, electric seats, and would you believe, air suspension. American iron. It's a passion Shannons understand. That's why they insure my daily drive, the caddy, my bike, even the house.
Call Shannons on 13 46 46. Shannons, insurance for motoring enthusiasts.
Gasolene is proudly brought to you by Shannons, insurance for motoring enthusiasts, and the following sponsors. I'm Michael Curzon, producer, creator of Gasolene. Hope you enjoy.
Well, it's amazing what's floating around out there around the countryside, isn't it? How many old panels here do you want? Or old engines, bodies, you name it, it's still out there floating around and never fails to turn up year after year here at the Ballarat Swap Meet. Check this old girl out, this one's caught my eye, the good old side valve Ford V8, or better known as, with most people, the old flathead Ford. Now back in the early 30s, this was actually the first mass-produced V8 to be supplied to the general public in a low-cost vehicle. Henry Ford did a fantastic job of getting these things together, put a massive amount of work in it with its modular-style engine block, and it became a revolution. They sold millions of them, year after year. Well, here's an interesting one, getting pretty scarce these days, this XB Fairmont Coupe. It's a factory 351 9-inch car. Factory sunroof, the works. She's in pretty down condition, I'm sure you'll agree. $12,700 was the asking price. And guess what? She sold 11 grand. Just goes to show that in this day and age, you can't find a complete car like this for restoration purposes. There's a lot of rollers around, there's a lot of bits and pieces. Well, years ago we'd pay $1,000 for something like this. These days they've escalated in value. You just can't find them, they're not growing on trees. Well, here's an iconic old bike, this old Z900 Kawasaki 1976 model, $8,900. Got a 1080 kit in it, so she's a big cube engine, camshafts, and as the sign said, it goes quite fast. I reckon this thing would be one hell of a ride. Not much in the way of suspension, but she'd certainly have plenty of straight line grunt. Check out this old girl. She's an absolute gem, this little XL Falcon utility here. On the sign it states barn find, so I don't know where it came from. I can't find the owner, but it's an absolute little plum of a thing. Probably could have done with a fuel cap seal a long time ago. As you can see, it's worn the old paint off there, but it looks like very original paint and body around the car, other than a bit of damage. I tell you what, I'd like to snap this thing up if I had the $11,500 spare and slot a nice little 289 in it. Be absolutely awesome. Here's an interesting old Chevy truck for sale, but I tell you what interests me, this engine in the back of it, have a look at it. Doesn't seem to be any info on it at all, but I can tell you it's a small block Chev. 6, from what I can see, it's wrapped up in plastic, but 6 Stromberg carbs atop. Nice set of pipes on it. Wouldn't be surprised if this thing was destined for some sort of hot rod by the look of the exhaust on it, and the old school 6 multiple carb setup. The old small block Chevy are a great thing, they just go forever. They're tough, they make great power, cheap for parts, pretty hard to go wrong for this sort of application. Well, I found a very tidy 65 Ford Ranchero utility. I love these things. I'm a big fan of the Falcon Sprint of that era, and these things are in that same year or body type style. This thing here sports the original matching numbers 289 engine. It's been rebuilt and freshened up, but it is the original engine it came out of from the factory. It sports a C4 Auto Trans, and this car looks like it's got close to original paint on most of the body. It's just a real good, honest survivor. Asking price for this Ranchero is $16,000. And I reckon for a car of this condition, it's not a bad price. Try and find one, they're not growing on trees. Most of them these days are just full of rust. I reckon this would be a great base to do a full restoration on, or maybe just drive the thing around as it is. We'll have a look at what I found here. An absolutely gorgeous little 69 Ford Capri. It's had a bare metal respray in this beautiful Ford Calypso green. Engine bay's been done, the works. It's got the black GT spec interior. It's just a roller, so there's no engine in it. It was originally a 4-cylinder car. $7,500. Gee, these days, the body and paint would cost you more than that. I reckon it's an absolute bargain. I'd get this thing, roll it home, slot a nice little 302 Windsor in it, or a 347, a 9-inch and a 4-speed top loader. I reckon you'd have yourself a hell of a car. This thing is a bargain. You want to see something rare? Well, you're looking right at it here. This 1962 Chrysler 300G two-door coupe. It sports a 413 big block engine. Actually had cross ram intake manifold and carbs on it too. But unfortunately in transit, when the car was brought over into Australia, they somehow went missing. Isn't that a shame? This car here looks like a pretty honest old thing. Sure, it needs a lot of work, but it is around 50 years old. So like anything in that age, it's going to need a full-blown restoration. It sports a push-button auto, and it also comes with a spare car. Guess how much? $12,000. Not bad value when you consider these things are so rare, even in the USA.
We're the Gasolene Twins. Hope you're enjoying the show.
Now here's an event to mark on your calendar for 2013, the Gasolene Muscle Car Expo. There's never been an event like this one, where some of Australia's very best concourse American and Australian muscle cars come together under one roof. Also featured by special invitation, barn finds, street machines, special interests and 50s classics. If you have a concourse standard muscle car or any vehicle that you think might be eligible to enter this event, then contact Michael Curson via the Gasolene website. This one is going to be huge. And don't forget, viewers, to look up the all-new Shannons Club. Shannons Club is a huge site. It's like a hub for enthusiasts. You jump on there, you can start your own garage, put pictures of your cars up there, stories of your cars, videos, you name it. You'll see people like myself on there, Jim Richards. Click onto our garages and check out some of our machines and some of our past machines. It's an incredible site, it's growing every day, so get onto it and have a ball. Welcome back to Gasolene, viewers. We're at Lardner Park in Victoria for Motorfest 2013. What an event. If it's burnout action you want and show and shine, go to Woe, you name it, it's here. Sit tight, you're gonna love it.
What we need to promote, get the kids out here, this is where it's all about.
Well, I've found a very serious looking HQ Holden here, owned by Warren Eustace. It's a pretty wild ride and a dedicated burnout machine. Warren, tell us about this ride.
Basically, it's just a HQ Holden. I've had it for about 14 years now. It was my first road car. Just get started, you know, little engines, you get bigger ones, and I've just ended up with how we are today. And yeah, it's just a full tubbed, dedicated drag rear end in it, blown alcohol, small block Chevy in the front, 377 cuber, rev it to about 8,000 RPM in the burnout, and yeah, it makes 930 horsepower in the engine dyno.
930, that's a serious power plant, mate. How do you make something like this live the distance in the burnout comms?
Just a good oiling system, good engine components, just careful measuring and just making sure, just everything's right, and just a dedicated maintenance system. And cooling system would be crucial in something like this because you haven't really got any airflow coming through the front of the car, have you? No, we run a couple of fans on them, but yeah, they do get pretty warm. We've got a good aluminium radiator up front here, and running on alcohol looks after them pretty well. So yeah, it still warms up a little bit, but yeah, it's a lot better than petrol. The old alcohol does run pretty cool, it's a good thing. And tell us, mate, you work in the V8 supercar industry, I've heard. What do you do and who do you work for? Yeah, mate, I work for Walkinshaw Racing up in Clayton, which is a Holden racing team. We look after super cheap auto racing, Tony D'Alberto, and we lease engines to Gary Rogers Motorsport. So yeah, my role is just to build and maintain and just look after engines at the racetrack. Wow, what a job, mate. I'm sure you've learned a bit there, and I'm sure you're not allowed to talk about it, but it'd have to help you in something like this, the engine building experience. Yeah, it's like that, pretty much two different applications, but yeah, it's taught me a lot about, just finesse and, good measuring and stuff like that, and, ideally just using the best components that are required to get a good job done. Well, Warren, thanks for talking to us, mate. It's a beautiful car. You put a lot of effort into it. It's a credit to you, and good luck out there. No worries. Thank you very much. Thank you. We need our burnout. Well, I've found an Alex Hatch here with some serious attitude. This beautiful car owned by Greg Angus, and it's packed full of 468 big block Chevy. It's got 13.9 to 1 compression, huge solid roller camshaft, 2 Barry Grants sitting atop. It makes around about 660 horsepower and a whole heap of torque. It's only a reasonably mild sort of combination at the moment, Greg tells me, but he's got plans to put a 600 shot of direct port nitrous on the thing and go out and try and get into the 8s. This thing will be one wild piece of machinery. It's backed by a Power Glide, a 5500 converter and a Mark Williams 9-inch rear end. This car is absolutely sensational. He's only had it going for about a month. Can't wait to see this thing hit the track.
We saw Johnny 8 yesterday did a very, very stout burnout to assure himself of a spot here in the finals. And of course,
well, I've found an absolutely superb ZD Fairlane here, viewers. Bit of luxury, but with plenty of horsepower. Owned by Scotty Rubel here. Scotty, tell us all about it.
Fairlane's been in the build for about 6 years now, and recently completed just prior to the Summer Nats. Yeah, quite literally, 3 o'clock in the morning, the night before the Summer Nats, we trailered it up, and as a debut, it ended up top 60, which I was stoked about. It's a 393 Clevo, CHI heads, roller cam, all the sort of good gear inside. Made over 600 horsepower. Fantastic. And the trans and the diff in the car? It's a C10 automatic, so it's 3-speed. It's rated about 800 horsepower, so it's plenty up its sleeve in terms of that. At the moment, it's running a 4,000 stall. Suited to a 5400, but trying to use it for a bit more street use at the moment. It's a 9-inch diff with Moser axles and a strange nodular centre and all that sort of jazz. So fantastic. And did you do much of the work on the car yourself? Much of the build? Yeah, the whole car I sort of built. Naturally, all the major sort of facets of the car I had to farm out, like panel work and trim and things like that. From country Victoria, so I tried to use as many local traders as I could. A lot of good friends in business in around my local town, Bendigo, pulled together and give me a hand as well. So
Fantastic, mate. Well, it's an absolute credit to you. Beautiful build and beautiful car. Thanks for talking to us.
No worries, thanks very much.
Well, we're back at Rockin' Industries, and with over 60,000 high-performance part numbers on the shelf in here, I'm like a kid in a candy store. So let's get into it and check out some of these parts. Now, when it comes to your high-performance engine, there's something that's often overlooked. That's your starter motor and drive plate combination. It's all well and good to have a big horsepower engine, but you've got to get that thing started. And you've got to make sure that the connection between the engine and the drivetrain is reliable and heavy duty. What I like here about these CVR starter motors here is they are very lightweight. In fact, I've got one for my Project Warhorse, the Cleveland. They're super compact and super powerful. They have a 1.9 horsepower version and a 3 horsepower version. But one of the most important things, I think, is making sure you've got the right drive plate. You want to at least upgrade to a heavy duty unit. Something like this SFI approved B&M unit here. But something that really impresses me is this massive Mazir unit here. Very, very thick, one-piece billet. Be very hard to break this thing. It'll withstand a lot of punishment. The other thing is too, your drive plate bolts in the back of the crankshaft. Don't use some 50-year-old bolts that look like they've been at the bottom of the Titanic. What's going to happen with those things? They're probably going to snap off, and that's if the heads aren't rounded off from being undone 1,000 times. Also, make sure that the starter motor is meshing correctly with the drive plate. So one of the most important things to do is, with your inspection plate off, manually push that pinion gear outwards as far as it can go. Make sure those teeth are correctly meshed. Not hanging in the front, not through too far, but perfectly in the middle. If they're not, you can shim it up and actually make the adjustments so the thing will last forever. So as I said, it's very important. You go to all this trouble to spend the money on your engine, your beautiful engine. Make sure you put all of the support processes in place, the right drive plate, the right starter motor adjustments, and it'll last forever, and you'll have an absolute ball. To download your free copy of the Rocket Industries and Aeroflow Performance Parts catalogues, go to the sponsor section at the Gasolene website. Click on the links and download away. With over 650 combined pages of performance parts and accessories, you're sure to find everything you need for your car.
You've been watching Gasolene.
You want power to weight? Well, I found it in this beautiful little HB Tirana here, owned by Adam Slorick. Adam, tell us about this beast.
It's a HB Tirana. It's built for doing burnouts. We'll show it for a little while. It's got a 308 made 695. It's got a 671. It runs on alcohol. It's got two 1050 quick fuel carbs. It's got a turbo 400 and a 9-inch diff.
It's a beautiful car, mate. Magnificent work. Did you build the car yourself?
Yeah, myself and a few friends. We've done it at my workshop in Bendigo. We've sort of gone a bit further than just building it like a race car, but it's like a Summernats car, something you go cruise and do all the events and sort of try.
A street machine to the effect, basically, that can be used in competition.
Basically, yeah. But
I love the way you've done the interior too. That factory sort of look, the factory wheel.
Yeah, Ash, a friend of mine, done the trim, and he done a real nice job, real comfy, and didn't want to take from the factory look.
So you've basically got the car here at the moment. You're just showing the car before you start getting some rubber on it, mate?
Yeah, you're going to show it for a couple of shows and then go and enjoy it soon. You won't be far away.
Good stuff, mate. Well, thanks so much for talking to us. Beautiful car. Love it.
Thank you. Thanks.
Well, I found a gorgeous looking 76 Landau Coupe here, owned by Justin Shembry. Mate, beautiful car. Tell us all about it.
Thank you. It's a 1976 Ford Landau, one of only 55 for the 76 year. I bought it as a third owner, all original, and then just stripped it all down and rebuilt it.
So you basically built the car yourself from the ground up?
Yeah, pretty much. The only thing I had to get was the panel beating. I'm not a panel beater by all, but my wife did all the interior. We did put it all back together and everything else. So yeah.
Fantastic. Tell us a bit about the power plant, the drivetrain.
It's a 378 stroker. It's got a C10 with a 3.5 grand stall. We're running a 9-inch with a 3.1s diffs, LSD in it.
Fantastic. Now the Loudons are a pretty rare car. They didn't make many of them, did they?
No, there's 1,385 all up, and yeah, there's a few forums out there, and they're trying to find as many as they can. But I think they found roughly about 250 left, thereabouts.
So effectively, they were like a sports coupe with luxury added to it, wasn't it? Really, it was a luxury sports tourer, wasn't it?
Yeah, they're supposed to have had all the running gear of a GT, but yeah, the luxury of a full luxury car. So, yeah.
Fantastic, mate. Well, beautiful car. Thanks so much for talking to us, and enjoy the day.
Thanks.
Well, have a look at what I found here. This HG Holden utility owned by Ben Falk here. See the blower hanging out? A little bit different, this thing. It's packed full of 6-cylinder Holden with supercharger. Mate, this is a really interesting machine. Give us a rundown.
Yeah, mate, just got the Holden HG ute there that I've had for a number of years now. Running the original paint and just for a bit something different, we've gone the old 202 in it instead of putting the V8 like everybody does. Obviously, it's built for doing burnouts, so we've just running the Weeman 177 there on the top and the old Holden 202 underneath it. So finished the top 10 at Summernats overall, which was pretty good. So
it's a great effort, mate. Tell us a bit about the power plant.
Yeah, well, with the car, like I said just a minute ago, we run the Weeman 177 in it. Just running like a Yellow Terra style head. Obviously, we've had CNC and that, 4G pistons and everything all in it. 12-pound boost, running on methanol. Got a Trimatic behind it and a V8 turbo diff in the back of it. So,
any estimations on power?
It should be around the 400, I'm thinking.
So it should be a healthy thing.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Obviously threads those tyres well, mate.
Yeah, that's it. Around the minute 10 or something we can get them off, so 2 brand newies.
Fantastic. Did you do any of the work on the car yourself?
Yeah, I've done a bit of work myself, and another company in Bendigo did a lot of work on it too, so just good.
Fantastic, mate. Well, it's a credit to you. Something different, something very interesting, and thanks for talking to us.
Too easy. Thanks, guys.
JD running next.
The pistons that we're using in Glenn's engine are from a company called Race Tech. This desired piston that we've selected for Glenn's engine is a custom piston that we got them to procure for us. Now these are actually an Autotech piston, which is a 4032 aluminium alloy material. The material is quite durable, has low friction attributes, resistant to wear, and is quite strong. With these pistons as well, what we've done once received from Race Tech is we've sent them to high performance coatings, HPC. With the HPC coating, we've added a dry film coating to the piston skirt. This coating has allowed us, what it does, the coating increases the diameter of the skirt. It creates a piston to have less friction. The coating soaks up the oil and acts as a better lubricant against the piston and bore. With the HPC coating, or the high performance coating for the top of the piston crown, it's a TBC, thermal barrier coating. Now what this coating achieves is it can withstand and hold more temperature in the combustion chamber, and that's the whole idea with these engines, to run a higher combustion temperature. With this barrier, with the combustion temperature, you get a cleaner, better burn across the top of the piston. You're going to get less carbon deposits that sit on the top of the piston, which also allows you to run a lot cleaner cylinder burn. What we do is we measure the piston prior to sending it out for HPC coating, but once we got back, this tells us how much coating it's increased on the piston size. So what we do now is we actually got to determine the final cylinder bore size and to achieve that correct clearance that we want to achieve to run. Okay, what we've got George doing here now is setting up the block on our CK21 cylinder hone. It's a Shannons CK21 diamond honing machine. It achieves a very, very good surface finish for what we want to achieve with ring seal. Okay, George is setting up the block now on the main jig. Now you'll notice that there's a bar running through the mains which pulls the block down, centralising the mains so that the head is in line with the cylinders. What George has done is fitted the torque plate, what we call a torque plate. This torque plate, the idea of the torque plate is to simulate the cylinder head being bolted on. And with the idea of that is once this is tension, like this is tension the same as a cylinder head, it actually distorts the cylinder. So what we're doing, we're actually honing the cylinders as if you've got the cylinder head on in place. George is doing here now, he's just taking what we call a test run through the cylinder, and what it'll do is it'll determine whether we've got our stroke set right, and it'll determine how much material that's to square up the cylinder and whether we need to make adjustments. What we have is what we call basically the roughing stones, but they're diamond stones. George's showing you the diamond stones here. So once we get our desired cylinder bore, we might leave it like a couple of tenths before the finished size. Once we've got that, we actually convert it over, and with the stones we've got what we call a plateau finishing stone, or a shoe, a plateau shoe. With finishing the cylinders, what we do, we actually set ourselves a fairly high target to achieve a very fine tolerance. We give ourselves a 2/10 of a thou tolerance, and we try to meet that, and generally with this machine it allows us to do that. Now what George is doing, he's measuring the cylinder to find out how true the bore. Now he'll measure it in 4 or 5 different planes in a vertical plane on the cylinder, and he'll also check it for outer roundness to ensure that it's round.
And remember viewers, if you want to see past Gasolene episodes, go to shannons.com.au. Click on the Gasolene link and enjoy. And remember, this is a whole new season of Gasolene with new episodes every Tuesday night, 8:30 p.m, Australia-wide.
Gasolene is proudly brought to you by Shannons, insurance for motoring enthusiasts, and the following sponsors. I'm Michael Curzon, producer creator of Gasolene. Hope you enjoy.